Good evening, everyone. I'm Ren Yan, the Executive Director of Louis Latimer House Museum, home of Black inventor, poet, painter, and humanist Louis Latimer. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Before we start the evening, I would like to make a very brief statement. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will.
Yo no sé.
Oh.
Please mute.
All right. Some were brought here against their will. Some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life. And some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. Even though our event is being held virtually today, I would like to acknowledge that the Louis Latimer House Museum and African Voices are based in Flushing, Queens and Clinton Hill, Brooklyn, respectively, the ancestral and unceded territories of the Munsee, Lenape, Matinecock, and Canarsie people. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. I would like to invite you all to tell us in the chat where you are joining us from and which land you are sitting on. And if you like, you can also tell us a little bit about who you are, what brings you here today. Please feel free to reference the link I just shared in the chat. And while you are doing that, I would like to welcome Carolyn Butts, founder and executive director of African Voices, who's here with us today. We will hear some welcoming remarks from her through a short video. Give me 1 second.
Greetings, I'm Carolyn Butts, the publisher and executive director of African Voices magazine. Welcome to the African Voices pop-up gallery in the heart of Clinton Hill, Brooklyn at 325 Lafayette Avenue on the corner of Randy Weston Way. It's such a pleasure to be here tonight with the Louis Latimer House Museum in Queens to co-present My Soul Will Be a Star, the resilience and creativity of immigrant communities. My Soul Will Be a Star is not just about celebrating National Poetry Month and celebrating art. It's also about bringing our communities together in solidarity to speak out against hate crimes against African Americans, against Asian Americans, against immigrant communities. So the poets that are, and the artists that are being presented tonight, their work addresses this different themes, not only themes of resilience, but also of power, of having the power of voice, of having the power of image to heal and to promote a more peaceful world through their art and through their spoken word and their written words. So I want to say thank you so much to the artists in this exhibition, Charisse Francis, Jacqueline Hertz Brooks, and Keisha Gay Anderson. I just feel thrilled and privileged that we're here celebrating their work. And I want to thank my staff, the poetry editor, Laura Tucker, and Derek Cross, really, for organizing and curating African Voices' first exhibition with the Lewis Latimer House Museum. I want to just say, please support our publication, African Voices Magazine, our spring 2021 issue. I want to ask you to go to our website to support the artists in this exhibition. It'll be available virtually through June the 30th at africanvoices.com and lewislatimerhouse.org. So check us out. And if you want to see the art here at African Voices, give us a call. It's available by appointment only. And again, when we turn to post-COVID, we do not want to go back to normal. We want to elevate. We want to evolve to a level where the vibration in the world is closer to love. Thank you for being here tonight.
Great. Thanks, Carolyn. With that, I will hand it over to Laura.
Greeting. My Soul Will Be a Star by Lewis Howard Latimer. When I shall die, my soul will be a star, set in the depths of heaven's boundless blue. I will ever watch this earth afar and note the good, the tender, and the true. When I shall die, my soul will be a star to smile and answer to each wandering eye, to look in sadness on all strife and war, and twinkle sympathy to those who sigh. To those who weep, I'll lend my softest light and send sweet hope down on a tender bead. To those who love, I'll give a gleam more bright than radiates out from a poet's dream. I'll guide the sailor o'er the treacherous sea and bring his bark safe to the foreign strand, and warn when danger threatens on his lee, and smiling greet him when he's safe on land. I'll peep into the window of each home where sorrow bows the loving parent's head, and bring sweet tidings of the loved who roam, and whisper messages from dear ones dead. When I shall die, my soul will be a star, and I shall watch when the bright sun is gone, beaming most brightly when the days are far, and fade into the sunlight of the waking morn. When I shall die, my soul will be a star to smile on earth through ages yet to come, to guide and comfort all the souls that are, and welcome others to their final home.
Thank you, Laura. And that was the poem by Lewis Latimer, from which we took the title of this collaborative exhibition. Now we will introduce the artists and poets one by one for them to present. For the exhibition, for the portion of the exhibition at the Latimer House, we decided to do it in the outdoor space here. And I would like to just show you a quick photo of the installation of the banners on our fence. Please do come by the house when you have a chance. Our garden is open every Friday and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can stroll through the garden, look at the house from the outside. The museum itself is not open yet. We are looking at a reopening day later this summer. But you can look at the outdoor exhibits we have here. And I would like to introduce you our artist. Jacqueline Harance Brooks. She is a Cuban author and interdisciplinary artist based in New York. Her work is project-based and it takes various forms, including documentary photography, soundscape interpretation, multimedia installation, and urban interventions. Jacqueline, who is interested in the process of fictionalization of memory, is the author of several books of autofiction. Jacqueline has a PhD in Latin American, Iberian, and Latino cultures. She's an adjunct lecturer at York College, CUNY. Please welcome Jacqueline.
Hola, 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 hola. I hope, let me see, okay. Gracias, thank you, Ram, for the introduction, and thank you all of you for being here with me today. I want to also recognize for my location. I am right now in Lenape-Hoking, which is Territory Delaware, Lenape, and Rockaway indigenous people. I'm Jacqueline Harance, queer, Cuban, also photographer, and working across disciplines. And before I start sharing my screen with you, in case something goes wrong, I want to send you 2 links for those of you who doesn't know my work. I'm going to send the link for my website so you can see what I'm talking when I say that I work across disciplines and I have these installations. And I am going also to send you the link. Is right now in the second one, right? The second one that is hot is a link to a magazine that had all the story of the postcards that I'm going to be talking about. So when I talk about postcards, you understand what I'm talking, and the photos I took in Forest Park, which is the place I have been working for all these months during the pandemic. I have a few minutes, but I want to kind of put in context the sonic composition that I'm going to release for you today, which is what I'm going to release at the end. It's called Camino en el Mundo Aleatorio and Welcome Others' Words to Their Final Home. Is an improvisational poetry walk created for the project All I See. And then I am going to share my screen. So let me know if you see it. I want to make it presenter view right here. So again, what I'm showing today, what I'm going to release today at the end is the first title you see at the top, Camino en el Mundo Aleatorio, and Welcome Others' Words to Their Final Home. All I See, which you see in capital letters, is the title of the project. And for this sound composition, I've been working with Riccardo Massari Spiritini, which is the other name you see next to mine. And you're also looking at a partiture that I found in the street of Havana in one of my visits to my mother, which is a compilation that was done in 1989 by a Cuban musician that gathered all the toques de tambor bata, which is a traditional drum that is played in Afro-Cuban traditional ceremonies. So I use all these components, and I use Ricardo, and let me see, I got lost. So I was in All I See. All I See is the project itself. And it's a platform for transmedial practices. Several elements such as postcards, that is something that Randy didn't mention, but in the outdoors of the museum, you have postcards that you can actually pick and then mail to other people and communicate in this distance time, right? So Camino en el Mundo Aleatorio, for All I See, is a platform for transmedial practice. It has several elements. One of them is the postcards that you can pick up in the museum. And it have also time-lapse videos and improvisational poetry walks that I will play at the end of this presentation tonight. And all these are part of All I See. I designed the postcard with a photograph I took in Forest Park during the first 9 months after the New York City lockdown for the COVID-19 pandemic. I mailed the postcard to old and new friends and colleagues, which allow me to connect during these distant times using the USPS service that was under attack during the same time and during elections, right? The statement that you can barely read in this postcard I'm showing, the statement is 538 acres, once inhabited by the Rockaway, Delaware, and Lenape indigenous people, is found on each postcard picturing a beautiful place and controlled space where violence had occurred. I was photographing, recording, meditating while walking on subscribed trails in a park that was Rockaway and Lenape people's territory until 1635. It sounded like a lost paradise, and in a way it was. And I thought about the Trail of Tears in the 1830s and the Indian Removal Act that still prevails in other forms of subjugation and cultural annihilation in these United States. Thinking about visual and sonic storytelling as a form of self-care in a year of uncertainty, and taking sound as a final destination for my improvised words, I have created 4 routes, 4 caminos, 4 improvisational poetry walks in Forest Park, Queens, with my friend Ricardo Massari Spiritini in Sabadell, Barcelona. Together we thought about my walks in Forest Park as recurridos de estilo, and probably with the Spanish speaker people, we can discuss at the end why I'm using recurrido instead of recorrido. I'm thinking also the way we use a space, the way we create spaces by using places, and how, in my case, is very important, the space we practice, and then how I see that the use of the space is an equivalent for discoursive styles, no? The types of discourses in the way we walk and move through space. This one, this recorrido, the one that I'm going to show, and that is right here with the partiture that you're looking at, is my improvisational work number 1. It represents the path to the Orisha Ogun. In the Afro-Cuban pantheon, Ogun is a warrior who goes into deep forest and clears a space to be. My text also includes the segmented line from Louis Latimer poem 11, and welcome others to the final home, as a motif. In the same way, I wanted to clash image and text in the postcard. I wanted to intervene this motif, or welcoming, expecting words or stories or narrative from others as well. I am thinking right now in Sadie Smith's words, when she's saying, others people's words are the bridge you use to cross from where you were to wherever you are going to go. The most important part for me, for this sonic collaboration with Ricardo, is that I could finally use the partiture or rhythmic notes that they are half pictured in the slide you're looking at now. And that I can use that I found in the streets of Havana, as I mentioned before. The rhythmic composition of the piece is based on one passage from Afro-Cuban rhythm compiled by Milan Gali Riveri. All his compositions are for bata drums. Los tambores bata are sacred drums played in Yoruba religion ceremonies still in Cuba, in my country of origin, and they contain the voices of our ancestors. Ricardo replaced the drums for his invented instrument, the tarcordion, which is another percussion instrument, but it's not sacred, so he could play it. For my improvisational poetry work that was also references to the opposite of open spaces, like prisons or asylums, welcoming some but not others. And now I am going just to try to see if the sound comes through for you to hear. No.
It worked.
It did?
It did.
Keep going.
I don't hear it.
Could hear it.
Okay, let me see again. I will share again. And I'm sorry. recurrido número 1, camino en el mundo aleatorio, and welcome others' words to their final home. My connections with where I come from and the experiences I have had are not 100% severed. I have not forgotten. I remember what it's like to be there, but I am not there anymore, and I don't want to be there anymore. I have to reconcile that. I see it basically most of the time as wanting to pull people out of that situation, getting rid of it altogether. It is like emptying the ghettos, and that everyone will have an opportunity to live better, safer, healthier. One person cannot do it. It needs drastic change where people are lifted, given opportunities, training, given better education, given better nutrition, all of the stuff that keep people in poverty. Bad health, no bad education, no recourse to make a living except to be selling shit on the streets, on the sidewalks, and then end up in the prisons where they are disrespected on a higher level because our tax dollars, well, for those of us who are paying taxes, are keeping them there. It is not free to incarcerate someone. We pay to keep people incarcerated with our taxes. It is a big contradiction to what we believe in. Camino en el mundo aleatorio and welcome others' words to their final home. Camino en el mundo aleatorio con sonido de carretera urbana, super traficada, y de vez en vez, mientras camino en la vereda paralela, me encuentro con gente que debe vivir por aquí. Vengo aquí para no poder pensar en agarrar el lápiz y ponerme a torcer su negro sobre el bulto de hojas frescas. Soy una de esas con la pulsión escrituraria, una de las que escribe sobre las superficies todas. Las más rugosas se tragan el jugo de la palabra y el polvo del lápiz, esconden la mancha del carbón gastándose entre sus endijas crudas. And welcome others' words to their final home. Y bueno, muchísimas gracias. Thank you. That was it.
I think now we go to Derek and Keisha.
Greetings. Hello, my name is Derek Cross, African Voices Art Director, live here at our office / pop-up gallery. And today, we will be presenting our featured artist, Keisha Gay Anderson. Now, a little something about Keisha Gay Anderson. Bio. Keisha Gay Anderson is a Jamaican-born poet, author, and visual artist. She is the author of the poetry collection Gathering Waters and A Spell for Living, which received the Editor's Choice recognition for 2017 Luminous Origin Literary Award for Poetry. Keisha's poetry, fiction, and essays have been published widely in the literary magazines and journals all over the world. She is also a frequent African Voices collaborator for over 20 years. Goes back, history. She's also been a past participant of the Vona Voices and the Callaloo writing workshops, and was on the short listed for that Small Acts literary competition. Impressive. In 2018, she was named an artist in residence for the Brooklyn Public Library. Keisha is a graduate of the Syracuse University Newhouse School and holds an MFA in creative writing from City College, CUNY. She currently lives in Brooklyn, New York, with her husband and 2 children. You can visit her at KeishaGay.Inc. That's KeishaGaye.Inc. Now, without further ado,
All right. Ooh, you're gonna have to mute. Okay. Hang on a second, are we good? Can everyone hear me? I don't know.
We can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right. It is my great pleasure to be here. Thank you for that introduction, D. Cross.
you're welcome.
Man, it's like nothing like when he gives you an introduction. So what we're gonna do now, good. All right, I'm gonna share some poems with you. I'm so happy to be here. This is a great theme, a great event, a great evening, and I enjoyed hearing everyone so far. I'll share a few poems with you, and I wanted to just kind of hang out by my artwork, all right? The first poem I'm gonna share is from my first poetry collection, which is called Gathering the Waters, and it's called I Am the Caribbean. And it has to do, it's my meditation on migration and what the Caribbean is. So, in the belly of a ship named for supposed nobility, I came this way. From low caste Bombay to Chinese railway, I came this way. From Irish town here, poor as the one back there, I came this way. I became that jigsaw piece floating on the archipelago. Too enmeshed to go beyond the gravity of my being, I am the Caribbean. A sweltering pool of disjointed life, each day remaking, reshaping itself into an electric rhythm, skipping from Bata to Tassa to Nyabingi, weaving through me, making me that kumina sound, that pan melody, that flute in the hills, that shack that brings back that sound of conviction, of personhood fought for, the independent ardor that we bled to see. I came to be that diasporic medley, calling me down to ride through this life, changing shape as I see fit. And though we may forget the names of spirit, we call them viscerally. The trench town, Port-au-Prince, Port of Spain, concrete just the same, all repositories of potential energy and stilted memory. I am the Caribbean. So I like to start with that one. And it's weird not getting the feedback from the audience, but I know you're out there and I can see some smiling faces. So I think we're all good.
Yay.
All right.
Yes.
So, I write a lot about journeys because we're always taking different journeys in life. And, you know, a big part of what happens with immigrant families is remittances, people working and sending money back home. So this poem here, and then I'll go on to some of my more recent work, but this book, Gathering the Waters, is really about that journey. And this poem is called Firewoman. What a way she bright though. That fat gal, that firewoman, is who she thinks she is. Market lips rocking like a rum shop before daylight, rolling like a river
swelling to meet sea after the devil and his wife did a fight. Flashing tears from the clouds, streaking the faces of hibiscus, pulling colors through the curtain of the sky. See her there? Rainbow snake charmer, higgler, rude girl, mommy water woman, wind chime laughter shattering the queen's English, morning stride, twisting Greenwich Mean Time, a carnival of adornment from the temple of her ankles to the crown of her head. And red hair, green hair, no hair, she no business. And she black, so till she become a memory and a promise, a double dare, a heckle in the Sunday mass, a line in the sand, cross it if you think you're bad. A body tolerating uniforms of commerce, all for the sake of a tightly packed barrel, school fees, and layaway on satin and sequins designed to hug every living curve. Don't command her, don't test, or expect the original holy word to be unsheathed from the holster of her mouth and linger near your ear until just the right time, until you get comfortable. Forget to use those code words, safe slurs, third world, urban, inner city, underprivileged, disadvantaged, developing, primitive. All flimsy arrows aimed at pernicious life, sail through stardust template, pre-time goddess unscathed. She is still here, from Clarendon to Brooklyn. Call her Iris, call her Lilith, call her Isis, call her Kali, call her Savvy, but don't call her out her name. She's got no use for girdles and bleaching cream. Coconut milk never killed anybody. Candles and white rum have their place. Everything in her darkness must come to light. She's got stamina for the marathon of creation, sucks her teeth at your corsets for jubilation, blinders wrapped in greenbacks, promises called pensions, and she will wait as long as it takes for her garden to grow, for her children to know. All right, so I'm gonna move. Thank you, love you, love you. We're gonna move to Everything is Necessary, which is my second book. And there's the cover. And this was the little immigrant child, y'all. That's why I look so vexed. I think this is a street artist drawing of me. I don't know, I was like 5 or something like that. But I remember those early days and just adjusting to a new place and my parents working all the time. And this picture evokes a lot for me. So the book is called Everything is Necessary because when we have to like get uprooted and go somewhere else and start over, you know, the trials are necessary to make us who we are, and we're grateful for who we are. You know, that's how I like to look at it, right? So I'm gonna read this one. Well, first of all, I always start with my ancestors. So let me start with that poem. That's how I begin everything. You wanted to look into the dark, didn't you? So don't curse these eyes, we gave them to you and sent you to straighten the bends in these steel tracks that link all of our names, rusted under salt water, buried beneath bundles of cane. Sing songs into candle flame for these bones of mine that now reach through you, stand you into 6 feet of woman. They have not forgotten how to brace against the lash or bend backward for the bende. Each day we move with you, can't you hear? We are riding the rhythm that beats these words through your center. You beg us to enter, but we never left. We is me, is you, is us, all now together since forever. We laugh and lift your sight toward starshine, seashells, sleep in poetry in every alley and pissed-on corner. We tune your ears to the footfall of predators who stroke their loneliness to the bowline of your lips. You wanted to know, not believe. So see it all here now and build a ladder with these visions that lift us up, one by one, hand over hand, after birth to under dirt. We listen with you, roll slowly up this mountain that needed us to tumble down, break ground, and move things. So look here, kill your fear, open these eyes, pull us back together, and march us home. All right. All right, so D-Cross, you gotta tell me if I'm
Yeah,
going too long.
yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the artwork soon, but
Okay.
bless them with one more.
Okay, so we'll do that.
One
So
more poem.
in that case, I have a new book.
New book,
Yeah,
new book.
My new book is called A Spell for Living, and many of these pieces here are in the book. It's a hybrid project. It's poetry, art, and some of the poems were set to music composed just for this project by a musician called Smart Black Kid, a friend of mine. He's awesome. So let me read some work. I still have this manuscript because it's not, a print book is coming, but it's not done yet. It's in production, as we say.
Work in progress.
All right, yeah, so we're gonna read this one that I love. Here we go. It is called Be Fabulous. Here we go. Oh no, I'm gonna read Black is Not Enough. I just feel we need an expanded sense of ourselves, and we gotta get out of these boxes, right?
All right.
Black is not enough to go by. It's too narrow a space, too clumsy a way to reveal you. Don't you see your place up high along the winding trail of lights resting on mother's neck? Can you name all the shapes of your intelligence that sometimes, when it feels like, splashes over the brim of infinity to condense as jazz, a dance of colors at 5 points, Denzel's deep sea eyes, and our snaking hips to the dance hall rhythms? Dip, 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 dip. Unleash your ecstatic laughter for this joyous walk through time and mirrors, where you can love you as us, as all of this. Salt foam under a lavender sun, the jubilant tale of your familiar, a warm kiss of wind in the glade exploding with new life, the sweet sacrifice of guiding the next navigator of your blood. Black is not enough, is too dim an ideal, too minuscule a name for us. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
I love it.
Thank you. And now,
all right.
time for some art.
All right, so let me I'm just take
All right.
through, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So these are abstract line drawings. The medium, these are prints, these are canvas prints. It's pen, it's pastel pencils, it's color pencils, it's a mixture of things, right? And I like to meditate a lot on creation journeys, right? So I envision this one. This is sort of like some sort of cosmic other place from whence we emerge, right? And the cool thing about it is that I want you to see whatever you see, but I can tell you what inspired me. So, you know, this feels like a womb. There's fish here, there's some stuff under the sea. I feel like there's some ancestors going on a journey there. So that's what I was thinking when I made it. But of course, take what you want and see what you see, all right? This to me felt like a journey. I felt like there was a lot of middle passage going on here for me. I feel like there's a ship here. I felt like it was a slave ship, quite honestly. And I feel like the wind is blowing us on this journey. So I chose this selection, these pieces, because they kind of tell a story together from our origin, the middle passage. This I call bridges, you know, and it's just this idea of crossing bridges, going someplace new. But there's people watching us. There are spirits guiding us. There are ancestors watching over us, right? There's love, right? And here we are on a new shore. There's a bird, there's water. We're in a new place. But again, somebody's got our back. That's what I was thinking. And it's the same thing here. And I know I don't have too long to go into that. I don't want to talk too much, but this one is kind of literal. This is just like an angelic figure, you know, watching over folks. Yeah. And this one I call freedom. Kind of wrote freedom in here. I don't think anybody ever really sees it, but it's written here, right? And it's just the vertical lines and like the angles, I just wanted to evoke the city and living in the urban jungle. You know, like it's not quite a grid, but I wanted to play around with that idea and what it does to us. You know, it kind of makes us a little stressed and frazzled. So that's what I was attempting to do there. Okay. What was I thinking here now? This is sort of you can't see it from the way I reproduce this print, but she's in a cube, but she's a mystical being. I think she's even a mermaid and she's stuck in this box. But sometimes when we're displaced and we leave our homes, we have to cramp ourselves into these, you know, in these molds. And that's what I was thinking about when I made this, right? Let's move on. This is again, the shapes here are meant to evoke a womb. Again, it's like, you know, something being born. Yeah, I don't know much. You know, I just want you guys to just get what you can about it. You know what I'm saying?
Let's talk a little bit about.
This is a tropical bird. I mean, this is what it is. This is reminding me of the tropics. This is a tropical bird and a little mystical figure here, a deity of some sort. But to me, it's like, that's what's inside me. Like, that's my original blueprint of who I am. I'm from Jamaica, I'm from the tropics. And that's how I feel inside. Like, I'm always like a colorful bird, like in my spirit. And this last one is just starting. It's kind of like a fire burning underwater. And, you know, water doesn't always put out fire, you know? Like, think about volcanic activity. You know what I'm saying? So I think I wanted to play with the idea that things are not always as prescribed as as we think. You know, sometimes you can defy the odds. I think I was thinking about that. Like, this fire is still burning under the water. So there you have it. Thank you for going on that little journey with me, and I look forward to taking your questions later.
All right. Thank you so much, Keisha. Back to you, Ren.
my phone now.
Okay.
That was amazing. Thank you, Keisha, and thanks, Derek, for the amazing sound effect. Well, our final but not least poet/artist is Charisse Francis. Charis is a Queens-based Afro-Caribbean American poet, editor, interdisciplinary artist, workshop facilitator, and literary curator of the mobile library project, J Expressions. She has published work in various publications, including African Voices. Additionally, she has published 2 chapbooks, Lucy's Bone Scrolls and Variations on Settling Seedling, and has another one on the way from Double Cross Press called Recycling a Why That Rules Over My Sacred Site. Besides her publications, she has had work featured in exhibitions from the Lit Exhibit, New York Live Arts, Queens Public Library, and Baxter Street Camera Club. With that, I will hand it over to Charisse.
Thank you, Ran. And thank you to Louis Latimer House, African Voices, and Elizabeth Velasquez for the opportunity to be here tonight. Before I get started, I would like to acknowledge that I'm on Lenape-Lakawe land in Hollis, Queens. And I would also like to thank Jacqueline and Keisha for your powerful work as well. It's an honor to be presenting with you all tonight. So I'm going to share my screen. So just in case you aren't able to see my work at the museum. I would like to show it to you here. Okay. Can everyone see it? Okay. So my poem is called Griot Samoan's Beyond Sense, National Anthem in Quenglish. Griot Samoan is a mythological dove priest character from my manuscript, Polynation, a Seminary of Self. That manuscript is about me thinking about identity and what it means to call a home, and how do we carry home within our own bodies. And the Beyond Sense part was influenced after a Eastern European poetic movement called Zam. Zam supposedly means beyond sense in Russian. And they were a movement that was basically thinking about sound poetry and sound as a kind of ancestral basis for all of our languages and questioning our kind of structures of language. And so I created this experimental sound poem that took elements from the national anthems that are part of my heritages. I was born in America, so I took the national anthem, Star Spangled Banner of United States. I took the national anthem from my mother's island of Barbados, called In Plenty and In Time of Need. And I took the Dominican national anthem called Isle of Beauty and Isle of Splendor. And I basically started taking words from each of these anthems and throwing them together on a page, kind of the idea of collecting language as you move throughout the space of each of these countries, and how these different languages and words are collected within my own body. And I've also been studying Dominican Creole language as well. And I thought Creole is a language that, in a sense, is a process of fusing different heritages together in the Caribbean. And I thought it fit well with this kind of process that I'm working on in the poem. So I started translating some of the words into Creole, as well as either putting words together and breaking words apart to kind of show this idea of migration, as well as the formation of nation and land, and this constant cycling between the two that humans do. And how I, as a diasporic person, is constantly in tension between the falling apart, the displacement, but also reforming myself and reforming my identity. And the constant contradictions of that form who I am. And I think it's an interesting coincidence that the word country itself is related to the word contradiction. So the idea of country being many contradicting beings having to come together as one. So that's what this poem is. And I'm going to read the original experiment and then the sample translation that I came up with afterwards. And also, and them is a play on Black English throughout the diaspora, how we say, for example, mama and them. So I was playing on anthem and them, thinking about the idea of collecting together other groups of people and forming a nation. We're always including other people and them. So, Griot Samoan's Beyond Sense. National Anthem Reactions. Praise, 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 praise the pouvoir. Ting. Plenty time needs motto. Le, land young, Jen bien, semen, the seed, Gwen, gloam of the guave. Quaons is sprung over the land. Bien has withstood, binds tiger from Ejwe to Ejwe, pride of Nati on hood, nu loyal to, make it salve, savan, among, beyond wreck all. We there, valet, mutani, with a climber, we fair, extol, say now, nu bien on, we, right nu, no, names confusion, on list history's page, bien, like fontaine, with expectations guan. Guardian, high re eslav ling. Crossmen of destin, benign, the people's good warms the nam, nane, upward and onward, we shall be one zet well. Bomba bursting, prouve, free floors waving, plein gaz in wonder, rouge glare, ve, we, nation grow per delight green, strength, unity, reverent zeal. Come ye forward, perilous bate, gem beyond compare, strive ban, ram, pa doapo befem. Toil, towering, teje, and lamen, and voix, sans pas pollution. Sound the call. Say, can ya see? T'oublie, mist of the fawn, dread silence swore. From all each to each all, team benage gleaming night wave shore. Demi conceals, demi discloses, havoc, desolation, terror of flight. Free men shall debut heaven, still there. La paix, refuge, ake, pays, rescued land, leave us no more, is our confiance. Preserve us, be it Jaman, just cause there's no place. So that's the original one. Now I'm going to read the translation. And this is one possible translation. I do encourage people to read the original and just based off of the sound of the words, come up with your own translations. Because I feel like words themselves have multiple meanings, and the meanings aren't always the kind of strict dictionary meanings. Sometimes meanings can come from feeling as well, and feeling the sound of the words as well. So I encourage anyone who reads the original poem to kind of feel the words as you say it and figure out a translation for yourself. But this is one translation that I came up with from the experiment that I did. Praise the power that calls us into motion, an eternity of breath out into reason. When landing, we are our youth. Land is our forever wholeness, sows the seed, a seed that glues us together out of the grave. A belief sprung over the whole land has stood with us, binds our hearts from the shore where we fall to the next shore where we fall. The pride of bearing us into our shining glory. We all picked and gathered, making it known to the plains and what rises up. We, all right, in the rivers, valleys, mountains, together climbing. We do praise the ones who carry us all. Presence is a wholeness we possess. We write ourselves into what is not, pouring into each other on history's page, a wholeness like a fountain. Our greatness is drawn out. We welcome the guardian who hears our language, that we have minds, that we are the crafts to our destiny. We were born whole. That is our people's guide to warm the soul. All year, up towards and on towards, we keep going loudly to settle into our wholeness, a blossoming seed expanding into a wave of free flowers, fully seeing in wonder the brightness in our blood. We see ourselves, a nation growing in its vitality, in its togetherness, its reverent zeal. Come you forward out of this perilous battle as a jewel of the earth beyond division. Strive towards a bond of sound, the loud cry of our rights. We are firm in the struggle and we grow from our hearts and hands and voices, sounding out of the dirt, sounding the call. We can see out of the trouble, out of the mystery of the bottom, out of the dreaded silence speaking around us. Every one of us shining like the waves of the night on a shore. We hide, we show, we cry of loneliness and the terror of flight. Our free minds doubts the heavens and the heaviness, yet here we are still there in its peace, in its refuge, in its housing, in its country. We confide in its leave us no more. We will keep going whether we are here or not, because there is no place. It is us. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Charisse. That was really, really nice with the mix of the sound. All right, well, I just wanted to also acknowledge Elizabeth Velasquez, who joined us later after we began. She's from Southeast Queens, the Artists Alliance, and she helped us co-curate the portion of the exhibit at Latimer House. Elizabeth, would you like to say something?
I'll just say a hello. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, and glad to be here for the moment that I was. Thank you.
Right. Any questions for the artists and poets?
Well, hi. I just want to say, as not only the poet editor, but just as a Homo sapien, that these the poems. Oh, before I even start, I have to honor not only my ancestors, but the Manitoc and the Montauk, who I am renting the land from. I just got to say that it was so powerful. All of your work, all of your readings, how it was presented, and I have to thank you. You know, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get, but you lay in faith everything. And this has been such a wonderful event for such crazy times. So this is like a balm in Gilead. Thank you. So one question I have is, because I've noticed that a lot of what everyone was doing connected with a spiritual type of connection and epiphanies or even awakeness that wasn't necessarily Western. I'd like you to expand on how you bring in, you know, your feelings and connections to those ancestors, to that history, and also to that spiritual that's not necessarily something that that's a construct of Western civilization that we live in. And it's for all three of you. We'll start with Jacqueline.
All right. How do I bring my spirituality into my work? I guess it just show up. I grew up and was raised in Cuba, and it's part of my culture and tradition to observe ceremonies, to dance around, celebration of our second names that are probably related to one of the Catholic saints, but it's mixed with the Afro-Cuban religion. No, we tried to hide it for many years, and then right now, hopefully, it's very open and very well received, so people don't have the need to hide that they are spiritual beings as well. And then I think it comes from my mother. My mother is from Santiago de Cuba. Santiago de Cuba is very different in terms of culture from Havana, which is where I was born. My mother and my father met, and then they moved to Havana, but she's originally from Santiago de Cuba, and her upbringing is with Spiritism. I remember she had her proteges, and she also have her, the person that always guide her. And we used to meet on weekends to do spiritual ceremonies, to greet the dead people in the family or someone who wanted to be in touch with someone else. So we have ceremonies. We had ceremonies in different houses. That could be probably like people do here on Sundays, go to church. We went to each other's houses and we set a table. We put a white linen cloth, and we put some water of glass that I actually still have mine always here, and keep it clean every Monday. So I guess it's part of how I grew up. When I felt bad, my mother would take me to the Santera, and then she will clean me. She will, do ceremonies. So this is part of my upbringing. Now I think what is coming now is something I don't necessarily talk about, and it's something that I don't write about necessarily. It's there, and it made me feel whole as a person. But I guess because of the circumstances we are, all of us now, I'm thinking in for example, parks that are these very controlled spaces, and that doesn't allow everyone. I mean, it depends where you are and what neighborhood you are, depends what kind of access to have to public spaces. And now most of them are almost privatized. So they decide who are not. So going to the park and going around the park during these times that I was privileged enough to have a job and be calm and say, okay, I can walk and use the park that I have across the street. I was burying some medals that I have here with my orisha. My orisha is Ogun. Each of us in Cuba, when you are born, you are assigned an orisha that has to do with your day of birth and your month. And then after that, if you want, you can do what is called rodamiento de cabeza, and then you not necessarily have to adopt the orisha that you are born with. Mine, the one I was born, I don't have santo on, but the one I was born is Ogun. So I start moving the tools that I have at home, sometimes all knife, access, etc. that I offer. I start moving it to the park, and it was kind of moving and liberating Ogun from being under my desk and put it in there in the forest, and then forcing me to going and visit. And then doing these walks, I was thinking in all these that you listen to, particular spaces and how they are controlled and how we are displaced. I mean, brown people are constantly and historically displaced from their areas, wherever they are. So that's what I guess it put everything together. No, what I was thinking, what I was walking in the park, and then getting to visit. What I say. My spouse always say, are we going to walk to a bar? Are we going to visit Ogun? Are you taking something for him? So most of the time I take something I have here that is metal or I found in the street. And then I have my chat and I just do my walk. So I guess is this situation we are allow me probably to talk freely and openly about this that we consider sacred. We don't necessarily talk about it, but we know we all do it practice to feel whole. So that is why I think it agrees with but with this new work I have.
Wonderful. Please chime in. Artiste.
Okay, we have coordinating our technology here so you don't get feedback, but I like what Jacqueline said. Yeah, I mean, for me, I always say writing is listening, and from my perspective, my ancestors are always with me. I have a suspension of disbelief, probably because I am from the Caribbean, and the African religious retention in Cuba is not incredibly different from Jamaica, although things are practiced different from place to place. And although my family didn't necessarily practice, I think it skips a generation because I do. And I don't care what anybody says about that, but that is my source of inspiration. And I have my altar where I talk to my folks and I keep my water there and whatnot. And that is just something you're born with. I don't know how to explain that. There are different religious and spiritual expressions, of course, in different traditions, but a lot of us in the Caribbean and in the diaspora here in the Americas, our ancestors are coming from the same places in West Africa. So obviously those traditions come with us. And in some ways, if you're an artist and you are dedicated to respecting your artistry and your practice, and you are listening the way you should as you're creating art, those voices come through. Those symbols come through. They show up in my drawings. I don't know what they are, but I'm learning. I understand I'm being taught as I'm listening, and I'm obedient. And what I mean by that is that if I'm inspired to write something or draw, I honor that, I prioritize it. I have a job, I have 2 teenagers now, I can't even believe it, but I prioritize those messages, that inspiration I get, and only by sitting with it and honing it does it become anything, that I feel like I want to share with you. But I feel like my family, people I've never known, I feel like they're around me. And it's kind of difficult to explain it, anything beyond that. I know it's a cliche and people explain things this way, but it shows up in my work. And I know that because I'm writing about things and I'm depicting images of things that are like unfamiliar to me. I'm learning with you, and so I'm grateful. That's amazing. And I want to strengthen those relationships. So that's what I'm focused on.
Yeah, my answer is kind of similar to both Jacqueline and Keisha. It's twofold for me in that I study a lot of African diasporic spiritual traditions. And through all that study, I see the connections across the diaspora. And for me, it's a kind of like quantum entanglement where it's more subtle energies that are spread across the world. And it's not this kind of Western idea of this linear connections or this kind of logic or rationality. It's beyond sense, as I said, but like in that beyond sense is a different kind of rationality or sense that makes more sense to me. And I'm the type of person who doesn't believe in coincidences. I believe in synchronicities. And there are signs everywhere. You just have to pay attention and deeply listen to those signs. And I think those things show up in my work a lot, which is why I feel like my work is packed with a lot of history, a lot of memory, because I'm constantly listening to whatever's out there.
Thank you. Thank you, all 3 of you, for these excellent, enlightening answers too. And, based on what you're saying, I'm going to pass it on to Mr. Derek, see if there's any other questions or anything coming from the chat room.
Well, I have one question. I wanted to know if your practice and your art and your spirituality has given you really grounding through the COVID times, real sense of comfort. And I want to say that I really felt each presentation, because my grandmother is from Montserrat, and she had the same tradition with the glass of water, and she was always speaking
to her ancestors, to her people. And for a while, because of the way this society operated, I had to kind of like not share that. So this is a beautiful space that we're now able to really be open about our histories and our connections, that the ancestors are still with us. They're still talking and speaking with us. So my question, I guess, is in times of during the COVID, you know, how has your creativity and your connection to your ancestors helped?
I'll jump in. I'm just making sure that the volume's up. I'll be quick. Yeah, I think the whole world was put on timeout by Mother Nature. She's like, go sit in a corner and get to know me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, yeah, I think it's important because, you know, God bless the, you know, the Creator, the Most High, bless the wisdom keepers, the people who kept these traditions alive, more often on the fringe of society, the fringes, right? And so we're used to being persecuted for their beliefs. And so they were secret. But a lot of things, some things are still secret, but a lot of things don't need to be. Anybody can connect with nature, anybody can connect with water. It's important that we do these things. And so for me, that has been strengthened, like those practices. And really just more listening. Like, I didn't feel panic, like the anxiety, everybody's feeling anxious now. We're all cooped up and we've lost people. I lost some, you know, people who were close to me, you know, and that was sad, but it just strengthened my resolve to walk in my purpose and to find all the other people who are on that same path and do the work that we came to do. That's what I'm about. I'm here to do this work, to be the best that I can be so that I can create things that people can use to heal and to form deeper connections that, you know, reconnect. If they were lost, they can come back in and you know, get back into the collective and experience life at a more expansive level. That's what I'm interested in. So I just hope to be a good steward of whatever I've inherited. And I'm still discovering it in terms of my spirituality. I'm still discovering it.
Thank you.
Yeah, similar. These times has deepened my spiritual practices because now I wasn't running around from this place to this place, going to this event and this event. I had time to just sit down with myself and really dive into those practices. Like I started studying more tarot cards and other forms of divination, and that has really fueled a lot of my work throughout this pandemic. And I've also been studying herbalism as well as like somatics, body work. So I've been learning how to heal my own body and strengthen my own body during these times, which I don't think is something I would have done if I was as busy as I was before. I've had time to really become in tune with myself and my body and see where my body needs attention. And in that way, I'm thankful for that.
Thanks.
Yes, Caroline, I agree with Keisha and Charisse. Probably the time had given me probably more space to openly talk about it. I mean, but with this project, when I started writing about the project, what I was using as a guide was a quote by Gloria Anzaldúa, the Chicana lesbian theorist. And I was using this phrase because actually it's talking about the disruption in the connection that we have with the land, how that connection we have with the land have been disrupted. And I think because I have been here, I've been using the park more and more. I mean, if you look at my photograph from before, they changed completely. I mean, never thought about being taking photograph of forests, for Christ's sake. I mean, there's a lot of good photographer using a lot of expensive machine photographing nature. And I'm using a phone, as if for me it was very completely different. I like cities, I like urban environments, I like trucks, I like graffiti, I like dirtiness and bad smells. So for being in the forest, looking at this beauty, I had to make up something on it. And then I was looking and I said, well, there's a channel here. My path to commute with my ancestor, to visit Ogun in that path, it's like a connection between times, and it's allowing me to use my personal experience and my life in this moment to connect with a path and to make open a door there and make possible that the present commute with the past in a way, you know. So that's visually my work is completely different right now, and probably it's because I'm used to work with what I have around, and what I have around now locally is the forest. Yeah.
Thank you. And I love the music and the drumming, that collaboration. Can you name again, say the artist's name who collaborated with you?
I collaborate with Ricardo Massari Spiritini, which is someone I have never met in real life. We have been collaborating for different projects. Before I was working with Lethal Music that I never met ever either. In England, and now he's in Barcelona. He's Italian, so we are trying to communicate with a lot of difficulty. My Italian sucks, his Spanish is terrible, and we don't want to use the language of the colony. We don't want to use English. We don't want to use Spanish, because Spanish means he's in Barcelona in an autonomous land, so he doesn't want to even know. So it has been a very interesting collaboration. And he's an experimental musician, and he created this instrument that is a percussion instrument that I like. It's called tarcordion, and he invented with little pieces of metal he was finding to make this peculiar sound that it sounds in a way like Chinese music from theater. And then when I hear it, that I say, I would like to replace the drums, because the bata drums are sacred. You're supposed to be an initiated in the ceremonies in order to be able to play those drums. So I didn't want to use the drums per se, in the same way I don't want to use the drawings or anything related to the religion. And we replace the sound. And then what I am saying is things that I say out loud without really editing or anything. I just said these things out loud into my phone while I was walking, and then I came back and interpret whatever I was saying during those walks, and how we mix then the voice with the sound. Now, he can read music, I cannot read music. And I have this partiture that I found in Cuba. I went to visit my mother and I was walking in the street, and I found this in the street, and I kept it. And I say, okay, my mother says, oh my God, this is coming from where? And then I kept it and I use it finally. So most of the time I'm trying to do that, use the material I have around. And I think it came in perfect time. We read the partiture and we did like an interpretation. It doesn't sound like the drums for Ogun, but it had the entrance, no, the tung 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 tung. So he took what is opposite to the expected rhythm, and he did it in the tarcordion. That's how we did it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I just shared the musicians link in the chat, and also the links to the exhibition and both our organization's websites. So please check them out. And thank you, everyone, again. Thank you, African Voices, and all the wonderful artists and poets. Hopefully, some of you today will check out the exhibition in person.
I will.
Yeah, please.
Great. All right. So I will let folks get on with their evenings. Happy Friday, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you
Man.
very much. And
Thank you.
Send your poems in.
Yeah.
Send your
Oh,
poems into
yes,
African
yes.
Voices.
Yeah.
You know, like, please do. We enjoyed it. And thank you so much, artists and poets. You were wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Derek, you rock.